Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Anessa Rain. For those who are new, welcome. To the returning subscribers, welcome back. Today will be a vlog about going to my daughter's field trip, going to another city called St. Augustine in Florida. It's like 2 hours away from my hometown. We're going there to learn about Florida history and pirates and so on. So I'm going to show you guys how St. Augustine looks, and I'm not going to do no talking or anything like that. I'm just going to show you guys around. I probably either vlog on my camera, on my phone, either or. I want good quality. I'll talk to you guys later. We gotta leave here like 5:30. We're supposed to be there at the school 6 o'clock, but they say 6:15, but I said 6 o'clock, and we have to go there because I have to get a parking space to park my car. Yeah, I'll see you guys in a few.
If you have any questions, feel free to yell them at me, and I'll try and answer them for you as we go down the road. But to talk about Christopher Columbus, he did sail the ocean blue in the year 1492. His idea was to actually find the shortest route to the West Indies and also prove that the world was round. Being a very self-taught astrologer at that time, he did not realize that the North American continent, that we now call the United States of America, or even South Central, actually starts the historical district. That is St. George Street. It goes approximately 12 blocks from 1 mile to the south. Over here to the right is 22 square blocks in the city of St. Augustine. Over here on the left is the Castillo di San Marco. The fort was actually built in the year 1565. It took about 20 years to complete it. If you look over there right now, you'll see a one flag with a red X in it. A lot of people get a little bit concerned about that flag because they say it looks like the Confederate flag or even maybe the Florida State flag. Well, bear in mind, it's neither one. That flag itself is the King of Spain's battle flag. Why does this flag still fly above the fort today? Because right over here to the left is the Atlantic Ocean. 1,600 miles due east is the country of Spain. He has vowed his solemn promise that he will always help us defend and protect St. Augustine. So his battle flag is above the fort because if he ever has to come back over here, the only thing he has to do is activate his military and man his cannons to fight off the pirates in the Indians. We're going to turn back to the right here and go into the center of the historical district. This road is called Hippolyta or Hippolyta. It is a town over in Italy where our patron saint, St. Augustine, was actually born and raised at. St. Augustine is the patron saint of the Catholic Church that this city is named after. But when the King of Spain landed here in the year 1565, he called this place La Forsythia, or La Floridia. If you can understand what Spanish is translated into English, it means the city of flowers. But if you look at the way that it is spelled, Florida, it is also the name of the state that we live in, Florida. So, historically speaking, the King of Spain, King Felipe II, actually named the state of Florida in the year 1565. That is a true historical statement. Over here to the left is the backyard of Meehan's. It's a restaurant doing business here locally. They serve most of their products outside in the backyard of the restaurant. It would be just like you do at your home today on the weekends with a family barbecue. St. Augustine has a lot of ways that we do things, just like you still do today. But for example, this road right here is part of the ancient city. It has never changed. The only thing we've added to it is the actual streets, the sidewalks, and the electricity. This building over here to the right at that time was used as a boarding house, or a hotel, or a Holiday Inn. Over here to the left would be like sweet milk, milkshakes, ice cream. Would that be an actual Dairy Queen? And we can look at it today. Acupunctures and massages was definitely the medicine at that time. Could this have been a doctor's office? It probably was. The Casa Maya restaurant over here, which will open up here in a few minutes, will be serving lunch and dinner in the Spanish cuisine style back into the historical gardens of the past. As we get up here a little bit further, you will see the Hispanic gardens on the right-hand side. It was actually dedicated to Queen Isabella about 58 years ago when we turned 400 years old. St. Augustine itself is the oldest living continuously occupied city in the United States of America. We are 250 years older approximately than the United States. When we were founded in the year 1776, St. Augustine was already here. When we pass this intersection, if you look back to the right, you'll see the north gates that we just passed. This is the center of the St. George District, or the historical area. Everything in this area right here, including about 36 structures, are well over 450-something years old. If you've never been here before, I'll go a little bit slower for you so you look back to the right and to the left. Guys, ladies, students, think about this. In the United States of America, after we were founded in 1776, everybody that immigrated into the United States came through a process called Ellis Island in New York Harbor, where the Statue of Liberty is at today. Since we're actually older than the United States of America, everybody that migrated into this area prior to that probably came through St. Augustine. I have family members in this area buried dated back to the year 1580. 1580. Back to the right and to the left, you'll still see some homes and businesses. People are actually still born and raised here, go to school here, and actually most of them will be here all of their lives. Over here to the left is an area called the Spices and Tea Exchange. This area still brings up the products from the Caribbean and sells it right here in this area. When we go to turn back to the left over here, I've got a very important question for every one of you here on this train. I'm looking for a guy that his name is Henry Flagler. Anybody ever heard of him? Okay, some of you have. Pretty cool. For the ones that have never heard of Henry Flagler, how about a guy by the name of Bill Gates? Anybody ever heard of him? Raise your hand. Only half of you know Bill Gates? Are you kidding me? You don't carry a cell phone? How about Kim Kardashian? Anybody ever heard of her? Alright, there we go. Now we're getting into the realm of fun. How about another man by the name of Elon Musk? Oh my God, everybody knows him. Alright, now look at it this way. Look at it this way. Bill Gates, Kim Kardashian, and Elon Musk, just about every one of you on this train know exactly who those people are. Why? Because they affect your life today as far as money, politicians, of the industrial world of technology. Well, think about this. For some of you that really don't know who Henry Flagler is, you guys are still giving his family money today. Just like you are Bill Gates, Kim Kardashian, and Elon Musk. For the ones that don't know Henry Flagler, think about this. That beautiful bus that you rode all the way from Washoe County there in Gainesville to come over here and visit St. Augustine using diesel fuel or gas. In the year 1883, when Mr. Flagler came back here for the second time, You guys are still giving his family money since he lived here. You know why? Because between Henry Flagler and J.D. Rockefeller, both of those guys founded the Standard Oil Corporation, the Chevron gas company. We call it Exxon and Mobil today. At about $3.50 a gallon, guys, you are still giving this family money. Understand what I just showed you right here. History is so important that you must learn from the past to be able to understand the present day world to hopefully build a better future. That's what this is all about. Henry Flagler in the 1880s built this beautiful hotel over here to the right. 260 rooms, 260 fireplaces, indoor bathrooms, indoor electricity, indoor hot and cold running water. How did he do that? There was no electricity at that time. Henry Flagler built this building over here to the right called a generating plant. He collected garbage in this area, trash, mixed it with coal, and created the fuel to turn the generator. About 180 years ago, Mr. Flagler was actually recycling trash to make electricity. I thought that was just a modern day type environment. But it really started back at that time. Matter of fact, we had electricity inside this hotel to show you how advanced Mr. Flagler was at least 4 years before the White House did in Washington, D.C. That's right. Over here to the right, a restaurant. You see right up there those plexiglass windows. Behind the plexiglass is Tiffany stained glass windows that are now worth over $40 million. When Mr. Flagler built the hotel, totally with the windows, costing $2.5 million to complete. If Elon Musk or Bill Gates will come out here and try and do it today, it would cost them approximately $9.5 billion. In the year 1963, when the hotel actually sat dormant for many years, the Flagler College came over here and opened up its business. Over here on the right-hand side is a life-size statue of Mr. Flagler at the age of 53. He was only about 5 foot 5 inches high. When we come back to work, we're going to see another hotel that Mr. Flagler had something to do with, because when he found out that he built the ultimate 5-star winter resort for his friends and family from Ohio, because that's where he originally came from, they became what we call today snowbirds and went back home, because after the winter time was over with, they lost their ability here in town and they went back home. So he builds another hotel over here to the left called the Alcazar. The Alcazar actually produced summer activities such as indoor bowling, basketball, racquetball, steam rooms, and saunas. And he also was able to build the first ever to be done indoor, above ground, Olympic-sized swimming pool. If you can imagine, at the University of Florida, that big pool that all them people go, all the gators go to learn how to swim for the competition, imagine that pool being above ground. Because over here to the right, from street level to just below the red pillars, 55 foot wide, 110 feet long, is the Olympic-sized swimming pool. It holds approximately over 750,000 gallons of water. It would probably be almost as big as the O'Connell Center basketball field is at inside the O'Connell Center. But it's nothing but a big, large swimming pool. Here in St. Augustine, there's a lot more history than just the ancient city and also King Felipe II, the King of Spain. In the year 1865, we had a war in this country called the Civil War. It was headed up by a gentleman by the name of Abraham Lincoln, our president at that time. So when we turn back to the right, we're going to go to an area called Lincolnville. But Lincolnville was actually settled about 12 years after St. Augustine was in the 1500s. The ethnicity of family members come from all over the world into this area. Over here to the left is the Cordova Apartments. That is the original printing place of the St. Augustine Record. Our newspaper is still publicizing today, roughly about 140 years old now. We're older than the Miami Herald, the Miami News, the Orlando Sentinel, the Gainesville Sun, and the Tampa Tribune. Those newspapers actually started in the 1900s. When we come down through this road, this is called Bridge Street. We are venturing into Lincolnville. Right after the Civil War, people were allowed to come down here, build themselves a prime Victorian style type home, live and raise their families, and are free on a restricted style of life. In other words, no slavery. In the 1960s, we had another issue with civil rights in this country. It was headed up by a gentleman by the name of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Well, Dr. King himself was actually here in 1963. He stayed right over here in this White House to the left. He was in there visiting with a very nice young lady. The lady that lives there today, she turned 99 years old on June the 1st. That is where Dr. King's aunt still lives today. Why was Dr. King here? It was because of a civil rights issue. But the most important thing is this. A lot of cities in this country have streets named in the honor of Dr. King. We do not have a street named in his honor. We got something that might be a little bit more interesting. We've got an actual avenue. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue represents where he actually walked the streets himself and not just talk about it. Dr. King came out of that house in the 1963 time frame, walked right down this road up to the stop sign and turned back to the right. I'm going to give you the opportunity right now to experience a little bit of history about that time frame, because the sidewalks, the homes, the asphalt, the street itself is still the same as it was in the year 1963. If you've ever seen that movie called Dr. Dolittle, where he can talk to the animals, think about what's happening here on this street. Could you actually hear the voices of a past here in this area? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue in the year 1963. He did walk down this road. I'm actually from this area. I actually witnessed him walking down this road, which is a pretty interesting thing. When we come up here, you'll look at a white house right up here in front of us. It's called the Moreland House. The Moreland House is where Dr. Andrews had his practice at, the local doctor at that time. Dr. Andrews was actually the primary care physician, as we call him today, or the doctor of choice for Mr. Henry Flagler. If you look behind the Moreland House, you'll see the top side of the Presbyterian Church. The Presbyterian Church is a living memorial to the Flagler family, because entombed and buried inside the church in an area is Mr. Henry Flagler, his wife, his daughter Jenna Louise, and his granddaughter Margaret. The Flagler family has a living tribute right here in this area. It is open to the general public. You can go in there and check it out. It's a self-guided tour. And the best part about it is, it's still free. It doesn't cost you anything. As we come back down King Street, towards the downtown area of St. Augustine, we're going to pass the Ponce Hotel or the Flagler College on the left again. On the right-hand side, you'll see another building called the Village Serrata Museum. The Village Serrata building was actually built as a private home about 7 years before the hotel was. It was built by Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith was considered to be a worldwide traveler, and he went to Spain quite a few times and fell in love with the Alhambra Palace design. He said, right over here to the right, you will have a palace to look like his own. If you look at the inscription above the door, that is a Hebrew or Arabic type words. It says nothing is higher than God. A little bit of history about that. The Ponce Hotel on the left, the Flagler College. Over here on the right is the Alcazar. 1963, the Ponce became the Flagler College. In 1948, the Alcazar became the Flagler Museum. Lotus Flagler was considered to be a very well-respected educator and collector. He was able to collect collectible collections, well, collectible collectors collections, from other collectible collectors collections they were collecting, from other collectible collectors collections that they had collected from all over the world. It's a beautiful museum inside there today. I sure am glad you're listening to that, because I'm trying to figure out what that guy was doing back there. Alright, here's a little bit of history for you guys. Has to do with every one of you personally right now. Over here on the left is the governor's house. When it was built approximately in the year 1565 by the King of Spain, there's been two sets of governors to hold office in here. The first one, 1565 to 1602, was Spain. 1602 to 1730 was the British. 1730 to 1814, it was Spain again. Did I make a mistake just now?
No.
Yeah, I did. I told you there was three governors. I only talked about two. Yeah. Think about this. Where is Florida's state capital at? Well, that's where it's at today. In 1814, when we became the state of Florida, named by the King of Spain, Floridia, this became Florida's first state capital. It was here for about 4 or 5 years and then moved to Tallahassee. You know how it got there? You guys are going to laugh at this, but it's a true story. They wanted to put over in Pensacola because of Florida, Georgia, and Alabama at that time. Well, St. Augustine didn't want it to go that far, so we put a man on a horse in Pensacola, a man on a horse in St. Augustine, and where they met in the middle is where they put the state capital, which is later on County, Tallahassee. True story, guys. Over here to the left is the Catholic Church. Catholicism, Christianity started here in the United States of America 458 years ago. This is the oldest parish of Catholicism and Christianity in the United States of America. Over here to the right is the original GC World War stores. You might look at the kind of World War stores as something like a modern day Walmart is today. Abilene over here to the right is the oldest street in the United States. Abilene is a town over in Spain where Mr. Alvarez came from that started and built the original house here in town. Over here to the left is the pavilion without the roof on it, is what the King of Spain built at that time. When the British came here in 1602, they put a roof on it, turned it into a guard shack, and started the first open slave market of slaves at that time in 1604. Over here to the right is the Lions Bridge. The marble statues of the lions was actually donated to the city by Dr. Andrews, the primary care physician of Mr. Blacker. But the marble statues come from the same quarry over in Italy that the statue of David, the mythical character of David and Goliath in the Bible, and Michelangelo carved out of marble. The same quarry actually for the marble was founded for the statue. Over here to the left is Cathedral Place. That particular Catholic church is considered to be what they call the Basilica of the St. Augustine Diocesan. What that means is that that is where the Pope would come and stay if he should ever leave the Vatican over in Rome for a visit in this area. There's a special room designed just for him. With this being the oldest parish in the United States of America, the first Christian church ever to be built, it has made history 11 times within the last 458 years. We've had 11 bishops installed for this diocese. The first one was Bishop Augustine Croix, which is buried in the Colorado Cemetery. The last one, 11th bishop, is Bishop Eric Bormeyer, which was installed on July 22nd of this year. They did not understand each other. They actually started fighting over that aspect because they did not trust. So guys, I'm going to let you know right now that the whole body of water out here was filled with blood in 4 or 5 days because nobody could understand each other. It was all because of the lack of communication. So historically speaking right now, in my opinion, the best thing to do is learn how to communicate with each other first before we just sit back and argue about it. That's a very, very good process of life that you can learn from history to the present or the future. Over here to the left is a pirate museum. That is an authentic museum. That's called a pirate memorabilia. It's actually been investigated by the History Channel and the Travel Channel quite a few times to show that there is real pirate gold, silver, and hourglass inside the museum. Florida. By the University of Florida a few years ago, it was proven to be the oldest resident here in St. Augustine. They also talk about little Indian boys, little Indian girls, alligators, snakes, bears, crawling all over the center of the mighty oak tree. If you could actually talk to Mother Nature or listen to the animals say something, could you actually find out about the past, the present, and the future? There's a magazine called the National Geographic. They did an article about this senator one time. They talk about the history that the senator has been exposed through. Hurricanes, floods, droughts, and even some snowstorms. And you know what's sort of interesting about this senator right now? If you look at him real closely and examine him, he is still alive. Still alive. Living from the past to the present to the future. As we get over here, kids coming out this road, we're going to see another beautiful, beautiful road. This road is considered to be the most picturesque style of oak trees. We average about 20 weddings here in this town. Just about every one of the bridal parties come out here to get your picture taken on the process of the walk of life or the transition of life. Think about this. When the National Geographic was talking about this road out here, they talked about these oak trees being over 200 years old. 200 years old, put here at the process of Mother Nature growing naturally across the road of life, the travel of life right here on this road. Historically speaking, some people talk about that these trees might have been planted here by Mother Nature to show us in the year 1820 when yellow fever came through here, how we're supposed to live today, grow tall, stand up, and support each other. Because in the year 1920, 100 years later, another pandemic came through here called Spanish flu. 100 years later, just 2 years ago, in the year 2020, another pandemic came through here called COVID-19. Could these actually be a process of Mother Nature for living so long? Or better yet, could the actual fountain of youth, the water of life, actually be here? Because when we turn back to the right, we are now coming into your final destination of the journey here in St. Augustine. This is the beautiful archaeological park that people come here from all over the world, basically to do but one thing, and that is drink the water of life. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fountain of Youth. When we get up here, please do not get off the train just yet. I need you guys to be very, very careful. There's going to be only one way to get off, and you're going to have to listen of how it's done, okay?
Is so old, I can tell you, older than me for sure. How old are you?
But you never ask a lady.
Oh gosh.
And
Yeah, sometimes. That's a problem.
Girls, moms and dads sat in the exact same spot for literally 4,000 years. So this entire park plus the church next door was all Timucuan homeland. Hard to imagine 4,000 years. That's a very, very long time ago, right? But this here was kind of a homestead. Now in this homestead, you'd have 3 generations. You guys know what generations are? Okay, so you guys are one, mom and dad's the second one. The third one would be your mom's mom and dad, your grandma and grandpa on your mom's side. Because here, guys, when you get old enough to get married, it would be about 25 years now for you guys. But you definitely move out when you're 18, 19, right, mom and dad? You would move in with your wife and her family, because here, the ladies have just as much say so, if not more than the men do. The ladies would own everything. As a man, we own our clothes, our bling, and our weapons, and that was it. Everything else was ladies. So our job is pretty serious. We have to go out in the woods and find food and protect our family. And back in those days, it was a hard job. You may not come back. A lot of animals that love noisy people. You guys are being noisy, so the animals miss you all together. That's a good thing, right? So, dad's job, like I said, mom's job was to take him and go get medicine and stuff like that. And your grandma and grandpa's job was to teach you guys. That was the first homeschool. Because to be a grandma and grandpa, you gotta be pretty smart, right? That what age you had to be back then. So life was really good here. Now, can I tell you all a little secret? I don't like fibbing to people, lying to people. The water's not magic. It's not gonna make you young. That's just one of a lot of silly things these Europeans thought in that time period. You know, another silly thing, they thought this world was flat. Can you imagine that? When you look up at that sun, what shape is that sun?
Circle.
What shape is the moon?
Okay.
You see any flat lines up there? So why do you think they thought it was flat? Pretty silly, right? You couldn't see very far, right? There is no end of the earth. It just goes around and around, but that's what they thought. Just like they,
if you went to the end of the earth,
you'd fall off.
But
Yeah.
that's not true because
It's round, right?
it's a sphere.
Just like the sun and the moon are. Just like that water's not magic. But people were here living to be 80 and 90 years old. And that was common. Or over in Europe, you were lucky to hit 40. And 40 is not old. I passed that a long time ago. But people here were living long because they ate better and they took care of one another. 80% of their diet was the ocean. So they ate really good and they took care of one another because they kind of had a bad reputation for being very mean and kind of bullies. Did you like mean bullies? But now the Spanish kind of had a hard time to get here. When they left Spain with 11 ships coming here to La Florida, which was all of this great country here at that time. You see, these guys came to Florida the wrong time of year in September. What kind of bad weather do we get in September? It's really bad. You know, not September, but what bad weather? Man, they're back. Hurricanes, that's right. You guys been to a hurricane? Not so bad in our homes, right? Now let's try to picture ourselves. I'll get you just a second. On a little bitty boat way out there in the middle of the ocean. And you're not underneath the boat where it's safe. You're up on top of the boat. So underneath where all your building supplies are, your food, the animals that you're bringing here. That's what's underneath. So if that storm blew everybody around, and they woke up the next day, only 5 ships would have left. Can you imagine losing half the class here? That'd be pretty sad, right? Then they still had to get here by rationing their food and their water. So by the time they got here, they were starving. Now the Timucuans very easy could have chased them all off. Like I said, they were hurting pretty bad. But this is the first time any European nation brought something here that they have never seen before. You know what that was? That's what I'm looking at right now. Kids, that's right. They brought women and children here. Now to natives, when you go to meet somebody for the first time to show you come in a good way, you bring your wife and your kids with you, because what person is going to risk his future by doing something stupid, right? So when the Women's Council here saw the women and children, they chose to help these people out. And because of that, we have this beautiful city of St. Augustine. You guys get to have a day out of school. Enjoy this city. Even though it's cold, it's still better than being in school, right? So wasn't it nice of those people not to judge people by how they look, but how they judge inside? See, in their society, people can take everything you own. Sometimes they can take more. But you only lose your honor by doing something bad. You know it's bad and you continue to do it. So they help these guys out. Now let's mosey over here to our kitchen area. Me and this young man here, me and his dad, we catch a big old gator. We got plenty of food to feed our children.
It's my regular. I'm talking. Takes me better. Takes me better. It's my regular. I'm talking.
How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Great? Right. So then we'll be firing what you say is called a caliber. This is a 60 caliber smooth bore gun that Pedro Menendez and his men would have been using here in 1565 and later on. The Spanish, they only had two requirements for this gun. One, it must be made of soft wood, meaning it could be any type of hardwood, as long as there's no knots, no cracks, no splinters. Second, it must have a ball mold to it. It could be any caliber as long as there's a mold to make the shot for the gun. The parts of it will be the stock, trigger, your pan, serpentine and barrel. And what gives it its name? The concord in my hand is called the max. Don't burn very hot, very slow, about a foot an hour. Today, it's a concord that's been soaked in potassium nitrate. But back in the 1500s, it would be soaked in a solution of gunpowder, water, and vinegar. The kill range for this gun is only 40 yards, but if you think about it, the name caliber, it comes to the name, cavalry. This is a horseman's weapon. The people that would be fighting with these guns are your dragoons and your cavaliers. Their job is to ride right through the enemy and continue on. They did have two other types of weapons here in St. Augustine. It would be your musket or in your arquebus. The arquebus was the first style of shoulder firearm that came around in the 1470s. It would throw a ball about 100 yards accurately. It would throw a ball 200 yards. And they did have rifles and muskets. Muskets would be about 5.5 foot tall. Be 70 to 77 caliber, throw a ball about 200 yards. And rifles, they did have rifles in the 1500s, but they weren't common. They were for the upper class. They're sporting guns, cost about $5,000 to make, and 5 minutes to reload, and they're accurate to 300-400 yards. The musket, the arquebus, and the caliber, these were military weapons, but they were not the primary weapons of the 1500s. Your primary weapon is your lance, your pike, and your sword. This is your standard muzzleloader, always going down the front with our main charge being first, then our wadding, our shot, and then we would prime the gun, run everything down, fire it. Okay, I'm going to give the command to load. I'm going to go through the process itself of loading it. When I give the command ready to fire, fire. Have your ears covered. This will be loud. Okay, ready, and load. Yeah, there's a fire right there.
You do not have to cover your ears yet.
Yes. Yes. Not yet. Not yet. Oh my God. Not yet. Then you have to do that. I don't want to. I'm gonna.
I would strongly recommend covering your ears. Ready, fire! Cover your ears. Fire! Help! Fire!
We've been down. It's my regular. I'm talking. Things for better. Things for better. We've been down. It's my regular. I'm talking. Things for better.
And then bring it to a boil on hot, okay? So just a little something the blacksmith's gonna help the settlers out with in 1565. Now we are known as blacksmiths because of the iron and steel that we work with. They're collectively known as the black metals, okay? You add smith to that, that's from that old English word smite, meaning to strike. After so long that turns into smith. And that's more than likely why we have so many smiths in the world today. Their ancestors might have been some type of metal worker, whether it be goldsmith, silversmith, blacksmith, etc. It just describes the metal that they're working with. Now the most important piece of equipment in the shop is the forge. We can get this fire up to 2,500 degrees in just a matter of seconds. And all I'm doing is pumping air into my bellows, okay? It's pushing that oxygen into my fire. And the fuel that I'm using is wood charcoal, same as the settlers here in 1565. There's no coal in Florida, okay? And we know there's trees everywhere. We know Pedro Menendez came with people named carboneros, people who strictly made the carbone, the charcoal for the blacksmiths and the settlers here too. Now we do not use thermometers in the shop here. We look at the color of the metals changing in the fire. It's going to go from a black to a red hot. Still not hot enough for us. We like orange hot. Oh, I did it too much. Nope, it's good. It went back down. This is orange hot, okay? Orange hot makes it malleable. I can twist it, bend it. I'm going to break this end off because I went up a little too high. All right. So orange hot makes it malleable, almost like a Play-Doh, okay? So I can bend it, I can twist it, I can break it off, I can flatten it, punch holes into it even. I can do anything when it's orange hot. It does get up to a yellow hot and then a white hot. Okay, I got it up to yellow hot. That actually melts the metal and wastes it, okay? So we try not to get it up that high in here. Now, I'm going to make a 16th century nail. And if you've ever seen any of those old nails, you're going to know that they're square, okay? And the reason for that, simple reason, it's the easiest, quickest way to make a nail. You're only hitting for two sides. Your hammer is going to flatten the top. The anvil is flattening the bottom. Give it a quarter of a turn, do it again, and that's how you get your 4 sides, okay? It's also easier to mash it out, taper it out, and bring it to a point when it's squared like that. Unless you get it up to yellow hot, and then it's a little harder. Alright, so the blacksmiths here in 1565 are just going to be basically doing what is ever asked of them at first, okay? But then they're going to go back to their specialties, if you will. And a nailer, a nail shop, is actually going to have 3 blacksmiths around that forge. One will be squaring it out and bringing it to a point. The next is going to be cutting it to size. And then that last blacksmith is going to be putting the head on it. So it's an assembly line. Very easily 500 plus nails a day out of the shop. All right, so you can see I squared it out and brought it to a point. Just don't come too close because it is still kind of hot. The end of it is a little wonky, but I'll fix that in a second. All right, so now I'm gonna cut it to size and put the head on that nail, okay? I'm gonna use my anvil again. We do about 95% of our work on the anvil here. Even that chain that you see around the shop. Every link was done on the anvil. The S hook, the big hook, is done right here on the horn. And that tiny scroll work, the tiny curl that you see, that was just started on the edge of the anvil and then rolled into a curl with our hammer. So we can do some pretty fancy things with some hot steel in our anvil. Now it hasn't changed too much since 1565. Their base might have been a little bit wider, but they definitely would have had the holes for their tools, okay? I'm gonna use my Hardy hole with my Hardy cutter. It's just basically an upside down chisel. All right, and I'm gonna put notches in my nail. I'm not gonna cut it all the way through because again, I still have to put the head on that nail and I need something to hold on to. All right, straighten it out because it's a little wonky. All right, there we go. Now I'm gonna put the head on that nail. Now, in a nail shop, they're going to use one of these tools. Been around since ancient Roman days. It is called a nail header. Blacksmiths like to keep it very simple. So, it's only going to go as far as you squared that nail out, okay? You're going to cut it to size, put it over one of the holes in the anvil, break it off, put a head on it pretty easily. But we are all about presentations here, and this is kind of low. Not everybody can see, so I'm going to use my post vise. Now, I have a question for y'all. Would there be a post vise here in 1565? Look at this piece of equipment. Would there be one of these in 1565?
Probably. Yes.
Yes, there definitely would be. Very good.
It's not really complicated.
It's really not, but for some reason it became such a controversy here in the shop. A lot of adults started calling us fibbers. So, we had to start proving it. Whenever we do homework here at the shop, we look at contemporary art from that time. We have homework too. Contemporary art from that time period, because that's going to give you some of the best clues and evidence of what was actually going on in that time period, okay? So this is a Flemish wood cutting from a museum, not Spanish, but it is from the 1500s, okay? You got a hammer, right? A bellows here, just like mine, okay? And then way off in the corner is a post vise that looks a lot like mine. So we actually found out that the post vise would have been around about 100 years even before our founding father, Don Pedro Menendez de Avilés, was ever actually born. All right? So the post vise, the anvil, a lot of their cast iron pots, all of that is going to be done all ready for them in Spain and ready to bring over. They do have that 6 tons of iron and steel, and while that sounds like a lot, they have to conserve it as best they can. They have to establish this settlement, but also prove that it's going to live on, prove that it's going to thrive, okay? Because we are the oldest continuously occupied settlement, but we are definitely not the oldest, okay? All those settlements before us, they were abandoned, either native attacks or they ran out of provisions, they ran out of food, they didn't know how to live here. The Timucua, we had the Timucua to teach us how to live here, so we were very, very fortunate. All right? Let's put a head on this nail. Back up just a little bit for me, please. All right. Before I show you the nail, though, I want to show you the irony of a blacksmith shop. So once it cools down, okay, it goes back to black. It does not have to look hot to be hot. Now, iron and steel are poor conductors of heat, so that's why I can hold it at this end. It's going to slowly creep up and let me know it's getting too hot, okay? But at the other end, black hot is still 800 to 1,000 degrees, okay? So you never want to assume in a blacksmith shop you want to pay a lot of attention, because iron, even though it has no teeth, will definitely bite you. All right, let's see our nail, how wonky it came out. No, not too bad. All right, next time you guys go to the dentist too, you thank him for being around, or her, okay? Because in the 16th century, there were no dentists. If you had a loose tooth or something needed pulling, y'all came to see the blacksmith, because we got all the tools. All right, so here's our nail. And if you guys have any questions.
Hey guys, sorry about that. I hope you guys hear something because it was really breezy and cold.
Now you take the bolt goes in. There's no sight. You look at where the tip of the bolt is, and you align that with your target. I told you it takes 40 seconds to load the musket. That's much quicker. Let's end the quiet part of the cannon demonstration. Now here comes the loud part. And the cannon's loud too.
Good job, Bill. All right, guys, you look right over here, you're going to see this rusted out old iron barrel. Muzzle loaded cannon. All that means is when you're preparing that weapon to fire, everything gets loaded to the front. First thing down the tube is going to be scoops of black powder. Then you're wadding finally your cannonball. Now everything got rammed to the rear of the barrel. Back at those barrels at the very top would have been a little hole, not a touch hole. You fill that up with the priming powder, you hit it with a match, you get a nice big boom. Now reloading, that's going to take you 90 seconds to 2 minutes. It is the same process, add one step. You guys see this stick with the sponge on it? Every shot, you're going to take this sponge, dunk in the bucket of water, then you're going to swap the barrel out. Because the last thing in the world you want to do is take fresh black powder, shove it down an iron tube with red hot burning embers in the back of it. Okay, you're going to do that once. And after your barrel's swapped out, you're back to your powder, your water, your ball primer, and go. The 3 cannons that we have mounted on these heavy pedestals, they're Spanish 9-pounders. Used to call them long 9s. With the proper elevation, you could actually fire a 9-pound cannonball to their maximum range of just under 2 miles. And it is the top military technology of the 17th and 18th century. Now, cannon birthday for you today. Not so much. Folks, that one's called a 6-pound breech charge muzzle loading bombardetta. And the technology for that cannon is actually out of the 15th century. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of differences between that gun's design and these guns. But one of the biggest differences is this, how you load it. You see the barrel in that cannon? It's open at both ends. Because you charge your powder and your water is going into a separate container known as the powder mug or the servidor. You can see the spare one standing upright next to the gun carriage. Now once you get your powder and your wadding into the servidor, you're literally going to pick it up, skirt it into the back end of the barrel. Then take a piece of wood. That's called the breech block. Drop it behind that servitor to hold it in place. While you're doing that, another member of the crew is getting the cannonball down the barrel, your primer and fire. Now, one advantage that older gun's going to have on these guns, reload time. See, our cannons would have had 4 servitors assigned to it. So every time the weapon's fired, the expended servitor is removed, and a fresh one's inserted in its place. So that means a well-trained crew of 5 can achieve and sustain a rate of fire, on average, of 2 rounds a minute. For the 15th century, that is wicked impressive. What is not so impressive, however, is the capabilities of the 6-pound iron cannonball. You'd like for me to demonstrate to you, the eager audience, the capabilities of this 6-pound iron cannonball. inside part of your entire field right here. Not a shell, not going to blow up, there's no fragmentation to it. Literally, it is a solid iron shot flying through the air looking to punch a hole in something. So in September 1565, when the Captain General of the Ocean Seas, Don Pedro Menendez de Avilés, I'm a huge fan, by the way, Pedro Menendez rock. He's going to found our little seaside village on this field. St. Augustine's border, right here. Now, when that event takes place, just like that crossbow, no one's used guns like that in Europe in over 20 years. So Pedro Menendez purchased 20 of these cannons and brought them over here. Now the landings. Guys, it's not like everybody just showed up on the 8th. The landings actually start with the work parties on September 5th, and they continue till late in the evening, September 10th. And it's during that time frame these 20 guns are brought ashore. Now, once the good admiral gets them on dry land, what's he do with them? In anticipation of an attack by Jean Ribault, the French out of Fort Caroline, he's going to place these cannons on the beach behind me to cover the bay and the inlet. And in 1565, yeah, that's all beach. You can literally sit and stand right where you are now. Could have looked over a wide open bay across a very barren Anastasia Island. You know something? It's a solid move. This cannonball's small. Yes? You fire this thing at a large ship, what's going to happen? Not much. Ball's going to bounce off the side of the hull and you're just going to aggravate the captain of the boat. But Pedro Menendez realized when he got here that, hey, we don't have to worry about large ships making it into that bay. And that's because of the inlet. In 1565, that inlet's nothing like we have today. Today it's a straight shot out to the old Great Lady. Back then it used to run up the east side of Anastasia Island from the south to the north. Now low tide of sandbar blocked the entrance to it. High tide is only 9.5 foot deep. No way a large ship's going to make it in. So the French want to try us out the water? No problem, bring it on. But they are going to have to use a much smaller vessel, like a longboat. Now longboats back then are ship-to-shore boats. And every sailing vessel of the era is going to have a longboat with them. Guys, this ball would have come out of that gun at traveling at about 400 miles per hour. It is going to smash through a longboat like it's made of cardboard. And if you're inside that boat when that's taking place, you are having a horrible morning. Think about it. 20 guns, 2 rounds a minute. That's a lot of this iron shot screaming across that bay at any given time. Ball strikes below the waterline, longboats start sinking. Guess what most Europeans in the 16th century can't do? Swim! Bottom line, boat goes down, they're going with it. So even though those guns are a little outdated, those 20 cannons were more than adequate to defend this position. Now the gun's greatest weakness, her range. She's only got a maximum range of approximately 1 mile. And don't get me wrong, she's not even accurate at that distance. Gunners on these bombarderos were trained to engage targets in around a half a mile. That's the effective range of the gun. Another concern with cannon, their age. When Pedro Menendez has these guns, they're already 50 to 75 years old. Now you have to worry about the integrity of the server door. If you overcharge the gun with powder, you can blow the server door up. Do that, kill the crew, that ain't good. So the average charge of powder on that end, it would have been a pound to no more than a pound and a half. All right, guys, 2 commands here. For Spania for Spain, and Fuego for fire. How would you guys like to give the command to Fuego? All right. When I say por Spania, I need all the kids to yell out as loud as they can, Fuego. Can you do that? All right, here it comes. Oh, by the way, cover your ears, guys. It's going to be loud.
Now we're doing it.
Ready, kids?
Ready to score off Fuego.
Por Spania!
Fuego!
Here's the little tube right there. We did not use anywhere close to a pound, pound and a half of powder. The tube was filled up 3/4 of the way. I can attest to that. I'm the guy that fills them. 2 ounces of a heavy grain 1F black powder. Now what you saw flying on the front of the cannon, not a cannonball. U.S. Coast Guard founds that type of behavior, and I'm not going to jail dressed like this. You saw Hawaii here where we're using Spanish moss. All right, kids, I'm going to turn you back to your tour guide. Anybody else got any questions, feel free to ask. Get the watchtower for you. Appreciate you guys coming.
I'm talking.
Where?
Candy shop.
It's a snack shack. That's not a candy shop. You don't even. Okay. Look, Bubbles. Bubbles.
So, y'all want to get something real quick? Yeah, sound good?
Hi, Elizabeth.
Hey.
Hello.
All that with you. Yeah. How's he doing? Do you know? Yeah, he's doing all right.
Can't be replaced. See no one else. Let me like you do. That's why I don't mind to spend my life with you. I wanna please you in any way I can. I wanna share my world. Don't you understand? Our love is running away. It goes on and on and on.
I am back. I am home in my PJs, my Christmas PJs. We came home like 6:15. I asked my daughter if she wants something to eat. She told me she wanted Wendy's. For me, I don't drive in the night. I don't know where things are, so I only drive daylight. I don't drive night. We got her something to eat. Overall of the field trip, I would give it like a 7.5 out of 10. It's nice. It's a nice place to go touring, but it's mostly for tourists. The city is like tour. In my city, it's college students. It's a nice scenery, nice area. I learned a lot even though the field trip was about Florida history and I don't know nothing about Florida history. I think the kids enjoy themselves. My daughter enjoyed herself. It was pretty okay. Would I go back? No, I don't think I will go back. I don't know, this video is gonna be super long, so I don't know if I'm gonna make a part 1 and a part 2. I hope you guys do like this video. I try my best to entertain you guys. I'm trying to reach the 500 subscribers. I need like 60 more subscribers to reach the 500. Right now I am 440. This is what I want you to do. Don't forget to like, mash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you will know when I upload video. And please do comment. I love your comments. I do reply back, but please comment. Please, I enjoy your comment, every one of you guys. So please don't just come on my video and just like and comment and don't subscribe. Please, it's free of charge. Just smash that subscribe red button and put on your notification to get more uploaded videos when I upload it. I am going to end this video and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and hit that notification bell to get more uploaded videos. See you on the next video. Bye.